It strangely enough has horns and teeth, which make no sense, but let's just say it has some ability for self-defense based on that. It attacks if possible. In other words, if you go into its range. So you'd have an encounter.
Yeah.
And we would check its range. And if it's not close, then you would just like see a really strange thing over there. And if it is close, that means that it caught you.
And players being players, so some would go.
Really, I wanted a closer look.
Yeah.
Really?
That's something I could do.
Now, it does have that flea score, and the way I looked at it was with given my sort of image for this thing, that it actually would be like a big puddle.
Yeah.
So by getting onto close means you walked into it.
Yeah.
So therefore it wouldn't have to like suck you through that.
Yeah.
And so the idea, but therefore I was thinking if that's the case, then if it can't attack, then I roll to see if it flees, and it has a very high chance to flee. It would just melt down into the surface.
Got used as it in another game.
Yeah. So yes, that I loved the herbivore.
Yes.
It's like that is a cool creature. But what it is, there's a creature which is almost identical to the one in the prairie, an omnivore as well. It's not exactly the same, but very close, and therefore I chose to think of them as members of the same species, or sorry, the same two species in the same genus. And then, and there's a flying carnivore here in the ruins.
And it's not like mosquito-sized.
No. 100 kilograms.
Yeah.
Which means its wingspan must be
still like his size.
Right. So yeah. Or whatever it uses. Maybe it even uses like gas bags or something. Yeah, it is.
These results are so much more interesting than like the monster codex.
Yeah. And so yeah, interesting. It either attacks, or if it surprises you, if it doesn't surprise you, it flees.
Yeah.
Okay.
By definition.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
common carnivore behavior.
Yeah. So I'm actually quite happy with the way this was turning out.
Those small gems.
And so since you have no encounter, and since they're after the flyer, that's what the prey is. They want to kill some of these and take them back. And so they're driving around, continuing to drive around and look when you come upon the crater in the city.
There's a crater.
There is a crater.
Kind of crater. I mean, we should know.
I think that's a very good question, don't you? Because it's not an old crater. It is a new crater.
There is a small.
And it's not this big.
No, inside of the crater, there is like a small mount, higher in size.
In the exact center, you mean?
Yeah.
Why, I think there is.
Okay, so there was a meteor here.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, it broke into infrastructure of the ancient city. So, I mean, there are levels in the crater because it broke through layers. So it's more like block the size of a city block.
Okay.
And the looking into it, it's not just a bowl. There are levels of broken off material.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I don't know. I had the behavior of what happens when a meteor hits a planet.
Yes,
the
but
rebound at the middle.
Yes, that's absolutely the case. But the point being that it hit and broke through several layers of ancient subway or something.
I would have just expect everything to be melted off. But
well, there's a lot, but I'm talking about the edges of the inside of the crater. In the bottom, it's fused and melted at the bottom, and there is something there.
Ooh.
Right. So that is our current question. And Buoy's take comes to a stop and is looking at it with some neutral curiosity. By the way, you guys are educated enough. By now you've realized something's very wrong with this person.
Oh.
He has not in any way shown an opinion and has been absolutely efficient in taking care of every one of these small jobs.
Yeah, it's very robot-like or android-like.
Yeah, in a very he doesn't have like jerky movements or anything like that, but he does have this lack of like sociopathic lack of affect, without ever being anything but just basically courteous. No yes please, no ma'am, or anything like that, but just basically completely courteous. The center of his, I would say the center of his attention, but it's the center point against which he directs his attention outward at all times is Embera.
Of course.
Right. So, but that's just what you guys have realized about this person. Something that's not normal behavior.
Could that be the effect of some medical procedure?
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah. So you are, of course, not able to do much. And so
I'm breathing, that's hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. So the question then has to do with now Embera and Sufa are interested in the skies, right? They are more interested in their prey, right? They're the target of their hunt. And so they say the best thing to do is to light flares. That's the plan. If one doesn't come upon you, to light flares to attract it. They're attracted to light and heat, apparently. And so, in the hope that you don't get, say, a flock.
That sounds like a terrible idea, but okay.
And so, well, they're here to kill one. I mean, that's
that's so arrogant aristocrats.
Yeah, forget that part.
And then there's this crater. So the question is, as they basically check their ammunition, and they're basically looking at you expectantly. Buis is not leaving the car. He's not sitting there like a robot, but he is by the car.
Yep.
And the two of them, while expecting you to do the same, start walking in, a pattern, each of you walking a little bit apart, but all being able to see one another, as Sufan is going to get ready to light a flare.
I would like to suggest that we go inside of the crater. It would be a much better defensive position. Does it work?
It's not what they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a. I don't know if there's a role involved, really.
I guess I could force a leadership, but
I don't think so.
No.
But them being suicidal doesn't mean that you have to be.
Right. But the point being is that this is their hunting plan, and and Sufan even dismisses the idea of a defensive, protective.
I see.
Right. What's that about? This is eyeball to eyeball or whatever it has.
I'm going to make a very official complaint that if they ask us to help and then don't listen to anything and just go straight to the dungeon, that's stupid. But I will go around. I will go with it.
Well, remember, you don't have to do it. I mean, you can act on your own. Do you want to go in the crater?
Not by myself. Like, we can do that after them. I want backups.
Okay.
That's
okay.
I will try to argue.
Because I have encounters waiting for you here.
I know.
Where's my crater? Oh, here it is.
How often do we roll for encounters?
When you go through, right, or when you go through it, and then when you stop for a rest.
Okay.
But here, they're actually attempting to draw the attention of a specific thing. And so that's, I think, a little different.
Definitely.
So you didn't have an encounter as you passed through. If you stayed here for a while, we would roll 4. And we might actually, after a little time has passed. And so here's this, and that's clear.
So the color of the system does not to change the rules of encounters.
Well, except that each system I'm supposed to make unique encounter tables. And so the chance of first of all, what terrain is there at all, because there's many terrains. And so you pick which ones are right here. And so that's why I have these 3 terrains: the plains, the ruins, the crater. And that's it. And then technically I would have a different 1d6 or 2d6 roll for each one of those. And I'm just using their generic ones. But as for the specific creatures, I on there were omnivore, scavenger, carnivore, and herbivore. And so therefore I made up one of each. And I could make up more of each, right, and have them be different herbivore results. But I only made up one of each for each of these terrains. So that's how I did it. It's still pretty diverse.
Yes.
But it can be much more specific to the system in terms of the probabilities, if I wanted it. So, I looked online, and apparently they have 10,000 source books with all the animals all figured out and everything. And I took one look at that and thought, what is the fun of that? I mean, what on earth? Because I actually, the first animal took me a little while. But then I caught the rhythm of how you do it, and I went right through the rest of them quite easily. It gets a little boring after 3 or 4 in a row, so you take a break, but given a week of preparation, if that's the only game you were playing. But never mind that. But given a week of preparation for ordinary play, when that's your group and you just need to play this game, it's not that bad at all. I mean, it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
If we were playing through the sector, I mean, and we kept playing week after week after week, I would be inclined in due time, to feel like I had a pretty good idea of each of these. I at first glance, I thought, you got to be out of your mind. After doing it just for this one, I think not so bad. Especially because these are Star Trek planets, which only have 2 or 3 ecologies in my mind. So it's not, I mean, I would not pick, the incredible diversity of terrain for every zone.
No, that would be crazy.
So realistic, yes, but I'm not going to do it. So therefore, here's the point. We are going to see about, as the predator comes along, then we are going to check for an encounter, not for the ruins, but for guess where.
Crater.
To see if something
pops out.
Right.
Hello.
It does not. It does. I'm so sad.
I mean, we can go after the fight and check
after the fight, yes, I'll check again. But I just really like the flap, pop up, look around out of the crater at the same time. But can't always get everything. Therefore, I will sadly put away my crater and get at my ruins.
I'd like if things got untidy on a dangerous planet, but that's the main attack. But
exactly, I know. But that's okay, right? What I'm going to say is, since everybody is ready, there's just no chance for a surprise. That's just not so.
Okay.
I can imagine. I mean, I can't imagine otherwise. But I am interested in the circumstances of its appearance.
But wouldn't we be able to surprise the predator?
Well, that is a good question. Yeah, that is a good question. I just can't see an ability unless it like uses like buildings and stuff to fly around and perch, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
So maybe it can. Maybe it can. Especially because it's a pouncer.
Oh, wait. That
So that means that it gets that means it's good at surprise.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
yeah. In addition to its home turf advantage of +1 that I'm already giving.
It's big as mean.
And so here we go with terrain modifiers. Now it does say city. We're not inside a cave or a building, but it's a city situation. So that's for the encounter range.
Yes.
Sorry, that's different. Okay, so I've got a +2 and you have a +1. What, am I wrong?
Military.
Yes.
So +2.
+2.
Yeah, but
and you're not in the vehicle anymore.
No.
Right, so +2 for you.
It's not going to matter.
Okay. And I get a 5 total?
I get a 1 plus.
3.
Three.
So it's not the
So
difference.
nobody is surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we know. But now the encounter range, and this is where I roll 2 dice 6, and that's -4.
For being
For the
in
encounter
city.
range.
Right. Which means it could creep up, right?
Yeah.
So I rolled an 8, and -3 at set, no, -4, so that's 4, medium range.
Okay.
So therefore, and medium range is just like before. It says from 6 to 50 meters. It's a pretty broad concept. But so therefore, you can see what's up. Now we see what it is inclined to do.
Oh yes.
Right.